Hello, all my addicts and alcoholics and fellow disabled people. Um, my name is Stephen Curtis, and I just I have this really big urge to help people. So I have a lot of experience with recovery under my belt. Um, I've well, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'll tell you my story. I'm actively involved in NA and AA and DRA. I do a lot of recovery stuff around CBT. I don't have any degrees, but I am currently working on getting into school. Um, I just a lot of my knowledge is based on experience, and I've been in and out of jails most of my childhood. Um, I've been in and out of psychiatric hospitals many times, most of my adulthood. I do suffer with paranoid schizophrenia. I do have a co-occurring disorder, a substance abuse disorder. Um, and I've been in recovery for a long time, and I just want to share with my fellows and help support people that need help. So in other words, I just want to be your friend and help support you and at the same time support myself in my own recovery journey through helping you. In AA, the AA philosophy is you can't keep what you got unless you give it away. And I want to give away my experience, strength, and hope to my fellows out there, my brothers and sisters who suffer with a co-occurring disorder and or substance abuse disorder uh, slash mental illness. And so I do have ADHD, I do have ADD, I have PTSD, um, a lot of trauma in my life, and you know I have a lot of depression. Uh, and so I'm pretty much the entire DSM-5 if you want to look at it. But anyway, with all that said, I want to tell you a little bit about my story. I came from a single mother. Um, my mother and father were together when I was born, um, but like at 2 years old, 3 years old, they got divorced. Um, and both my mother and father drank. My father smoked weed. Um, and so you can already know where I'm heading with this. My mom is my queen. I love her to death. She is my one and only. Um, and my dad is the only dad I will ever have in life. You only get one dad in life. So, um, anyway, my dad was really rigid. My mom was really loose. So it's just how it works. They never got along. And I saw them always fighting and arguing with each other. And my mom tried to hold down a job, taking care of us kids. And my dad had a hard time working. He wasn't much of a worker, so paying bills was always hard for my mom. Um, my dad tried. He got disabled. He was disabled with a back injury. Um, when I was young, so he was collecting disability, um, and my mom struggled to take care of us kids. She did her best, and so growing up, I've had a lot of I have had a lot of trauma. I don't know if you guys can see the scar in my forehead. I had a blunt force trauma to the brain when I was like 5 years old, and you know, I bounced back and forth between my mom and dad, and my dad would take us on the weekends, and I was per se emotionally neglected dad a lot because I was really sensitive. He wanted me to be a man, and that's all he asked was that I be a man, and I was just a kid, and I didn't know how to take my dad, but he was not always bad. I remember a lot of good times with my dad. I used to, you know, lay on the couch with him and watch TV, and he'd tickle me and stuff like that. He wasn't always a bad guy. He had moments where he was really good, and I cherished the moments that I had with my dad. But he was just really rigid, and I don't blame my dad for how rigid he was because his mom and dad was rigid with him. And so he was just trying his best with what he knew how to work with. You know what I'm saying? Um, but moving forward a little bit in life, when I struggled in school. I had a hard time retaining information. Um, I didn't really like the teachers all that much. I had a problem with authority ever since I was really young. Um, I respected the law. The cops were, I saw a man in uniform and I thought that was the greatest thing. But I looked at authority first off because I looked at my teachers as authority. Um, and how school was. School was always organized. You always had to meet deadlines, be at a place at a certain time. I was really unstructured and undisciplined as a child. And of course, I had addictive behavior when I was a kid because I loved candy. I binge on candy. I binge on soda. Uh, I just, I had that addiction way before I even knew I had it. Um, and so in school, I always was in the counselor's office, the resource room, and stuff like that. And I dropped out of school in sixth grade. I ended up moving out with a bunch of friends of mine on a farm, and I was getting paid like $200 a week cash under the table at 11 years old to pretty much shovel manure, you know what I'm saying? And so I did that for a while, about 4 years. When I was on the farm, if you guys know anything about backwood life, you know what I'm saying? My boss and the family would start drinking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't touch a drink until 3 o'clock. Once the business hours were over, out came the scotch and the Budweiser. You know what I mean? And so my boss, these were really wealthy people too. They were millionaires. They had a lot of money. So my boss had a fridge out in his shack where he stocked up cases of Budweiser. Just filled the fridge full of Budweiser. Always had a Budweiser in the fridge. They had a liquor cabinet unlocked. And so I started sneaking into the booze around 13 years old. And that's when I got my first taste of booze, you know. Um, and I loved it. The first time I drank booze, I thought it was the greatest thing that ever happened. I loved being annihilated. Um, and so my boss later on, I right around 13, um, he found out that I had smoked. Well, I don't know if he knew that my family smoked pot because my mom ended up dating somebody who smoked pot most of his life, and so she didn't smoke pot until later on. She had heart surgery when I was on the farm, and her boyfriend called me up and said she was in the hospital getting heart surgery. After her heart surgery, she couldn't drink anymore or smoke cigarettes, so she reverted to smoking weed. So they became pot smokers together, kind of like a codependent relationship. And so there was, my boss found out anyway that my mom and my uncle and all them guys smoked pot, so he introduced me to smoking a joint. And so I thought that was the greatest thing, you know. I was kind of weird with smoking weed at first because it kind of made me feel paranoid, you know what I mean? Like as a kid, I felt like I didn't know how to take the high with marijuana, but booze was another story. I love booze. And so I continue to smoke pot because that's how it is, you know, it alters the mind. And I love to alter my mind, so I kind of challenge myself with the paranoia of smoking weed, um, and continue to smoke. I quit the farm at 16. I came back to my mom's place, moved in, um, and started smoking weed with you know my mom's boyfriend and my friends. I could get weed. I got a job as a dishwasher at 16 years old, working full time, you know. And so I had money, so I bought my weed. My mom didn't drink anymore, so I started smoking weed. There was a brief moment in time where when I was 13, I quit the farm real briefly and moved back with my mom, and she was still drinking at that time. And before this was right around the same time she had heart surgery. It was right before. Um, and I remember I drank with my mom one night. She was already drunk, and my mom was a bar hopper. She loved to play pool. She loved cards. She loved to hang out. She had her select best friends, and they would just party. She was a partier. You know, my mom was a happy drunk. She didn't. I never saw my mom ever get angry being drunk. She always had fun, and so one night when I was like 13, 14, I was at my mom's place and she was partying with some friends, and there was some Creedence Clearwater playing in the background, and I was drinking some Calor, homemade Calor that my mom's boyfriend made, and I remember getting up and dancing with my mom the Creedence Clearwater. And it was like the best time I ever had. That moment, I'll never forget that moment because we're just having a blast, and I'll cherish that moment. And so moving forward back to where I was at, when I was 16, I got a job working as a dishwasher and buying my own weed. Um, and I started drinking, but it wasn't really that. My mom was the kind of girl that said, well, if you're gonna drink and smoke cigarettes and shit as a minor, I want you to do it in my home, not outside my home, because I want to keep tabs on you. You know what I mean? I don't want you getting in trouble or doing something stupid. Um, and so moving on, I went through, half a dozen jobs until I was like 19. And then I fell sick with schizophrenia. I started hearing auditory hallucinations. Um, and it was just, I lost touch of reality, and I had a nervous breakdown. I literally just broke right down. I was crying for all the time. I couldn't stop crying. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know mental health. I didn't know recovery. I didn't know anything about AA or any at this time. I was fresh right out of the oven. And my mom called crisis on me a couple times. I went into the hospital um, to get evaluated and to get on meds. I bounced on and off meds for a while. And then when I was like 20 years old, 21, I think I was 21, um, I just became a legal age to drink. Um, and I started drinking. I started buying my own booze. Still smoking weed. Still smoking cigarettes. Still pounding the coffee. Still binge eating. All the behaviors, all the signs were there. Um, and I ended up getting into an incident where I committed a crime. It was a aggravated criminal mischief. And so I went through the court process. It took about 18 months. I was on co-occurring disorder court, court programs and stuff. And on the day of court, my lawyer, court appointed, said, if you plead not criminally responsible by means of insanity, you'll just go to the psychiatric hospital for 6 months and get evaluated, and then you'll get your life back. I said, how much am I looking at in prison? And she said, about a year in prison. And I said, all right, I'll go to the psychiatric hospital for a while. So I pled not criminally responsible by means of insanity. I got inside of the psychiatric hospital and I found out that I was in it indefinitely and there was no 6 months about it. As a matter of fact, I'm still not criminally responsible for a crime that I committed back in 2008. And here it is, 2023. I'm on the ass end of it. I'm just now getting out of it. I'm really close to being discharged from state custody. But in that process, um, I went through a lot of recovery, and I learned a lot based on experience. I've seen so much in my time. My journey has been wonderful. I am extremely grateful for the things that I have learned. Um, and So I bounced in and out of psychiatric hospitals for a long time. I had a couple breaks in time where I lost touch with reality. I was smoking herbal incense or K2 for a while. Lost touch with reality, had to get reset. Um, and I haven't committed any crimes since that last crime in 2008. But, and just to point it out, I do have respect for the law. I don't need to have respect for certain individuals who enforce the law, but I do respect the law in general because I believe the law is meant to help people that need help. Um, and so to protect people that can't protect themselves. Um, and so I've been in AA and NA for a long time. I've been in DRA for a long time. I've done multiple IOPs. I've been in an inpatient rehab. Um, I have a lot of experience, and I want to share my experience, strength, and hope with my fellows. So, with that said, I told you a little bit about myself. And I know I'm an alcoholic. I know I'm an addict. I know I suffer with a dual disorder. And I have to treat them both um, at the same time. Um, you know, I have to treat my mental health as if it was um, a relapse prevention for my mental illness. My substance abuse. I have to treat my mental health as a relapse prevention for substance abuse, and I have to treat my substance abuse as a relapse prevention for my mental health. You see how that works? And I will get into that further on down the road. If you'd like to be a friend of mine, you can always, I think I have an email on the channel somewhere. You can always email me. Um, you can subscribe, like my videos, let me know that you're interested, just so I have you as a subscriber, so I can communicate or, whatever the case might be. In order to keep this channel going, I need to be assured that people are caring, and so, um, I will support everybody and anybody I possibly can in their recovery journey. Um, and I will be reading literature out of NA and AA and DRA and some other really good books going forward. And I will be discussing my opinions and philosophies about recovery going forward on this channel. And I will be doing a live stream just for those who um, want to talk and chat and get support and help. You know what I mean? And even support me when I need help. Um, so I thinking Saturdays, you know, I don't know what time on Saturdays. Just keep an eye out on Saturdays, probably around 10 o'clock in the morning, noontime, in between 10 and 3, maybe. I'll start a live stream, and you guys are always welcome to come join and share your opinions, your experience, strength, and hope at that. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna live stream tomorrow. It is Friday right now because I just started this channel tonight, and I don't know if I'm gonna have anybody on my channel. But if I can reach, I don't know, a couple hundred subscribers, um, I will then start the live streams. I will be posting videos though going forward, so just keep an eye out. Anyway, God bless. I will end it with the serenity prayer we say in AA, and I will pray. So, I pray to you, higher power, uh, greater spirit of the universe. Please help those sick and suffering addicts and alcoholics that may never find the rooms. Please help those who suffer from intellectual and mental health issues. Help these people find the strength and hope, and courage and humility that they need, um, to carry on through life. And let them sleep peacefully tonight, and let them eat a good meal, and let them have help and support in their recovery journey, please. And thank you. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. I will see you guys later.